everyone, this is Charm again from Ready to Adult Philippines, a channel about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and adulting how-tos. So this week I didn't get to prepare a video for you because I was busy preparing for a webinar. It's about personal finance 101 under the crash course series of Ready to Adult PH. So we decided to record the session and upload it here on my YouTube channel. So I'm gonna have the class later on at 8 p.m. So I'm filming this intro beforehand. And I hope that you guys will enjoy the class. I know it's gonna be a bit lengthy because the class is from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So yeah, I hope you enjoy the video.
So yeah, hi everyone. I'm doing a personal finance 101 talk today. For those of you guys who are new to this webinar, welcome. I'm Charm De Leon from Ready to Adult Philippines. And if you guys found this link through the Ready to Adult PH group, it's basically a group that's just helping each other find our way through adulting. The objectives of this talk, okay. First of all, I want to set some expectations. This is my first time doing a webinar, so I think it's pretty obvious. And it's kind of weird not seeing the faces of the people I'm talking to. Understanding the importance of personal finance. That's the first objective. I want you guys to understand why it's important to understand and take control of your finances. Next is I want to attempt to change your mindset about money. And next are some assignments that you can do later, which is understanding where your money goes and create financial goals. So yeah. So who am I and why am I quote unquote I can talk about personal finance. So personal finance usually is really about, of course, with the word personal, it's really up to you guys. It's different from person to person. Not every person spends the same things and has the same habits and daily routines. So yeah. So I'm the finance director of these companies. I'm not so sure if you're familiar with them. If you're from Cebu, if you're not from Cebu, then probably not. I'm the finance director of Supermercado, The Market, Street Food, Dual Story, and Pop District Bazaars. Those are actively my five companies right now, other than other little side hustles. So next is I'm an entrepreneurship and financial literacy advocate. Okay, so before I was a financial literacy advocate, I was an entrepreneurship advocate. So with all my business models, I'm actually in the business of encouraging business. So these are all platforms, bazaars, markets, and we deal mostly with MSMEs or small businesses. So I was already an entrepreneurship advocate, but when I was handling all these entrepreneurs, I realized that even if there are really good products out there or really good services, sometimes the business still fails because they lack the financial literacy to run a business or even their personal finance. Okay, so that's another topic that's mostly about business. But after that, I realized I wanted to be a financial literacy advocate first. I advocate people to be financially literate first before venturing to a business, so that of course your business does not fail. So next is I'm a content creator. I'm not very comfortable yet calling myself that, but I'm the person behind Ready to Adult PH or Ready to Adult Philippines. It's a YouTube channel, but we have, of course, you guys know we have a Facebook group, a Facebook page, Instagram. So Ready to Adult is basically about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and other adulting how-tos. So I assume that's how you guys found out about this talk. So I'm not gonna talk too much about that, but I might, just a warning, I might mention some of my videos for late for later. You can watch them because Since this is a 101 talk, I'm gonna try to simplify it. So yeah. So what is the point? What is the point of learning about personal finance? You can chat in the group, you can turn on your audio if you want to answer. To be better in managing your money. Yeah, that's right. To be financially healthy. Yes. Manage your daily finances. Yes. All correct. Um, okay, someone said starting your journey to financial freedom to be aware where your money goes. So yeah, the point is to be financially free. If you're not very familiar with this term yet, financial freedom is basically, in the words of Heart Evangelista, Miss Heart Evangelista, nothing beats sleeping well at night, knowing you'll be fine for the next 10 years. So this line has become famous somehow because of her, and it's true. That's financial freedom. If you want to start a business, you don't being financially free allows you to go for what you're trying to do without having to think if it can sustain for yourself or your family. And yeah, so what is the current landscape in the Philippines when it comes to financial freedom? So financial freedom usually gets associated with retirement, because of course after you retire, most of us expect not to work anymore, right? Not just because society tells us we can't work over 60 or 65, but also because our bodies might not be able to handle the daily workload that we're doing today. So the current landscape of retirement in the Philippines, the National Statistics Coordination Board estimates life expectancy for males to be 67.61, or let's say 68 years old, and women or females tend to live up to 73 years old. And because of technology, advances in the medical field, these numbers are just gonna go higher. We're gonna have a higher life expectancy. And uh, according to its time findings, out of 100 retirees, only 2% or two people are financially independent. Okay, 45 of them still depend on their relatives. So I'm sure it's a very familiar Filipino trait to be uh, with our families, with our lolas. We have multi generations in our household, so close family traits, right? And then 30% or 30 of them rely on charity, public or private charity organizations, from friends, from non-family or relatives, money coming from non-family or relatives, and then 23% continue to work. So some still able to work. Maybe some businessmen or some companies right now are advocating to hire people over 60 because there is a demand for it. Even if they're meant to quote unquote retire. Okay. And then the average monthly pension in the Philippines is only 8,000 pesos. So it might be enough for some, especially when you're not really paying for kids' education anymore, you're not paying for your house anymore. But the problem is a lot of people from the Philippines don't even have their own house when they reach retirement age. So they might still be paying for rent, and 8,000 pesos for most people might not be enough. So a lot of people depend on our SSS, which is our monthly contribution to the government, and then we get it back when we retire. But the reality is it's just not enough, especially if you're just um, giving the minimum amount. Okay, so the 8,000 again is the average. It can go up to as high as 15 or 20,000 a month, but that requires for you to give also monthly right now at a bigger remittance. Okay, so what is the rat race? Okay, so the rat race concept is by Robert Kiyosaki, the guy who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a pretty famous book. But I like this concept of his that says what we do, what society does right now. So we work hard and then we earn money. Yes, Maki, the four cash flow quadrants also came from Robert Kiyosaki. So yeah, so we work hard because of course we're scared not to be able to pay our rent, right? Or our bills. We earn we earn money from working hard. We pay our bills. And then we feel like we're so stressed and we try to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So we spend on lifestyle, um, and then we become envious when we do that because we see other people do it, so we also want to do it, like traveling and buying things, right? So and then we feel guilty because of the lack of savings. So we don't have enough savings, and when the time that we need money for emergencies, we either borrow money, or yeah, most of the time we borrow money and we feel shameful for that. So after going into debt, um, we work hard again because we're scared that um, what we owe people, if we're scared that if we can't pay up the people that we owe, or the companies that we owe, right? And that's the rat race. Basically, it's a vicious cycle, and you work hard again, you earn money again, you pay your bills, you buy stuff, you lack savings, and then you go in debt again. Okay, maybe some people do not go into debt, but they feel like they're not moving, so from lacking savings they work hard again. So that's the rat race. And how do we escape from the rat race? So we escape from the rat race by being financially literate. So financial literacy. So personal finance and financial literacy, of course, goes hand in hand. Um, for you to be able to manage your money properly, well, you have to at least know the basic steps of how to manage your money. Okay. So if it's that simple, you just need to be financially literate. Why are the numbers like this? Okay. Um, Almost three-fourths of the Filipinos are in the lower class, or considered lower class families, earning around 27,000 per month. For the entire family, that's usually four people, the mom, the dad, and two children, or 328,000 a year. Only 25% are financially literate, and 89% of Filipino youths rely so much on their parents' financial knowledge. This is a tragic story because of number two, which is only 25% are financially literate. So 89% of the Filipinos are learning from parents who also don't know what to do with their money, with their finances. Okay? So, and then less than 5% of Filipino families saves regularly and has a budget. Okay, Philippines has the lowest number of people who saves regularly, and to say the least, that's bad. It is. So yeah, uh, and then so here's a short comic. Why bother to budget? And then he says, so we can worry before we spend money as well as afterwards. Okay, so that's the wrong way to think about budgeting and dealing with your personal finance, because first you associate it with anxiety. Okay, you get anxious because you don't want to deal with your finances, and then um, you avoid dealing with it altogether because you don't want to feel anxious, you don't want to worry, diba? And with the last few slides that I've been talking to you, I mentioned anxiety, avoidance, fear, guilt, shame, and envy. So, what is the problem why people are having a hard time dealing with their personal finances? Okay, so personal finance is actually a lot to do with psychology. It has a lot to do with psychology. People are not dealing with their personal finance because they think they're bad at math, or they think they're intimidated by the numbers. I believe that majority of the people don't want to deal because um, they're psychologically not prepared to. They have an unhealthy relationship with their personal finance because of those things. But fear, guilt, shame, envy are actually good in moderation in for personal finance. Meaning, okay, a little bit of fear is good because you don't want to do. You don't want, let's just say, you don't want to go poor, or you don't want to live in the streets. So a little bit of fear is good. A little bit of guilt is good because you don't want to keep on indulging yourself with the stuff that you inside you know that you don't really deserve yet. So a little bit of guilt is good. A little bit of shame is good, again for the same reasons, and a little bit of envy is even good because you envy, a little bit of envy helps you to try to achieve bigger things, try to be financially free, or your financial goals. You hope to buy a car someday. You hope to buy a house someday, diba? So all these emotions are actually good. Before, before I started learning about personal finance, and I was already into it, I didn't exactly know the science of it lang. I used to think that people should take out emotions. They should be very objective when it comes to dealing with their personal finance. But in reality, we're human, my God. Sorry. We're human and we're meant to have emotions. So take these emotions and harness them to propel you forward in your financial goals. So yeah, um, these are some steps, or what if you're asking me, okay, like I'm trying to be open-minded now about dealing with my finances head on. Where do I start? Okay, so I'm gonna mention 5 things to you tonight. First is earning. Of course, you cannot spend what you do not have. So as basic as it might sound, first you really have to earn. Okay, and you need to have at least 2 streams of income. So nowadays, it's not enough to have just 1 stream of income anymore. I think the whole lockdown, no, is a really great um, to open our eyes that we need side hustles as well. So having 2 streams of income, let's say you have a salary because you work a 9 to 5. When I was advocating about entrepreneurship, I don't encourage people to, quit their job, start a business, invest all your money into that business, and then bahala na if it works or not. No, I always advocate for people to start a side hustle first. So I know your security blanket is your day job, but when you go home or on the weekends, you can always start a side hustle. Maybe it's an online side hustle. If you have skills in, let's say, graphic design, writing, PowerPoint, Excel, and everything, there's always room for you to learn and to earn online. Others are, maybe if you are good at painting, at drawing, at baking or cooking, you can also have some side hustles that you can sell those things that you make. Okay, and a lot of people will say na, okay, not everyone has the ability or the knowledge to do side hustles or other jobs because they think that that's all they can do. So we need 2 things to be able to have this mindset of having multiple streams of income. We need knowledge and skills. And since we're not in school anymore, things are not handed to us on a silver platter anymore. Teachers are not shoving subjects and knowledge down our throat. We have to go out and get them. So majority of you, of course, everyone here, no, you're here because you have internet connection. So having internet connection, we're so lucky because we can just search like how to earn online through writing, how to earn online through um, uh, graphic design or whatever, or coding, right? And also because we have access to these things and skills, we can also search for things that we can learn online, and the lockdown is a great chance to do so. But also, if you're not, for those people who does not have access to internet, we have a lot of seminars, physical seminars. Of course, not during the lockdown, but physical seminars. TESDA has a lot of offerings, and those are things that they can do on the side, technical skills they can do on the side. So having knowledge and skills will actually provide you with additional income. So yeah, that again, have at least two streams of income. If you think that you're already your salary is really not enough, then it's time to face the reality that you might really need to earn more. So yeah, next is this. I'm so sorry, guys, that was my dog. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah, next is saving. Okay, saving is paying yourself first. So how does saving relate to paying yourself first? Yeah, my dog's name is Minnie. Sorry, Min, come here, come here. Sorry, I think there was a cat. I'm just gonna. So yeah, Minnie wants to join. Yeah, I'm so sorry, guys. So yeah, next is we have to save. Save by paying yourself first. Okay, this is what typical people do. Typically, this is what people do. Income, when they get their income, they pay all their bills, they eat out, they drink out, or buy milk tea or coffee or anything. And then what's left of it is savings. Okay, I'm also guilty of this before. I was so guilty of this. This is why I actually started learning a lot about personal finance around 2 to 3 years ago. I was very frustrated why I was earning okay and why I was not saving. So when you do this formula, your savings is not constant. So sometimes your savings is even zero or even negative. So by reversing it, when you get your income, set aside savings first. Set aside savings first, and then what's left of it, that's what you will budget for your expenses. So if this month, uh, it's really kind of kapos talaga, you for you to buy, to shop, or to eat out, then maybe it's not time to do those things. So with this, by doing this, you prioritize your savings. And I'll tell you why. So imagine you're a company. Bear with me here. I'll give you a diagram. I mean, yeah, whatever. So imagine you're a company. Okay. I'm not sure if you guys can see my pointer. You get your income, and then you save for these things first. Okay, when you're a company, you don't want to be in a standstill. You, of course, you want to expand. So okay, set aside money for these goals. You might want a future home, a future car, a future family. You might want to travel, and then you need to set aside money for your retirement. I know it seems so far from now, for 30, 40 years from now, but the best time to save for retirement was actually yesterday. So the next best time is now. Okay, so that also applies to investing. So yeah, after you save for your financial goals, you've set aside money, then you pay for your company expenses. Your company expenses include utilities, food and essentials, your rent or your loans, and then your current self. Of course, I'm not telling you guys to cut all other unnecessary expenses. Don't ever watch a movie again. Don't ever eat out. Don't ever drink out again. Of course, I'm not telling you guys that because it's not sustainable. You guys are gonna burn out. You're gonna hate yourself, and you're just not gonna be happy with your life. So, your happiness and sanity also really matters because you are the company. You are the factory that needs to earn more money to invest in your company. So if you're not happy and you don't want to wake up every day, so it's also not healthy, diba? So of course, I also want you to show some love for your current self. Okay, without sacrificing your future self. Okay, if that makes sense. And then after is let's spend the money. Okay, we've earned money, we've saved money, now let's spend the money. Spending money means learning how to budget. Okay, um here are some budgeting rules. Of course, they're not strict rules that you really have to follow. Again, it's different for everybody. So the most famous ones are the 80-20 budget, the 50-30-20 budget, and the 60-20-20 budget. So what are these? So 80-20 is 80% goes to your expenses, and then 20% goes to savings. 50-30-20 is 50% are needs, 30% are wants, and 20% are savings. Some of you might think that it's really similar to the 80-20%. So some people prefer the 50-30-20 because when you segregate your wants and your needs for expenses, your wants can be lowered down. So wants means, again, you just want it. You can live without it, diba? So you can grow your savings by decreasing your wants. So some people want to separate the expenses into needs and wants. Okay. So next is the 60-20-20 budget. Okay. The 60-20-20 budget, again, needs, wants, and savings. Some people realistically have a lot more needs than others, so they stick to this budget. Okay. So what are needs, wants, and the third one, the savings, is finance stuff. So the needs, rent, house, loan, utilities, food, and transportation. Okay, so these are the things that we really need, especially right now in the community quarantine. These are actually just the things that we need for us to survive. Um, and then the wants are shopping, eating, dining out, drinking out, entertainment, and travel. Okay, so for the finance stuff, this is the emergency savings. I will talk more about that later. Emergency savings, investments, insurance, saving for whatever your financial goal is. Again, it's different for everybody. And then retirement fund. So these are the things that should go to your budgeting if you want. That's the categories. Okay, so you can do budgeting through digital or manual. Okay, a lot of people want to do digital. They don't want to deal with papers and everything. So apps, Excel or spreadsheets, websites, they pay their bills through online banks. So majority of them are really digital. And a lot of people also like really seeing and writing things down because they get more disciplined that way. They enjoy it more that way. So bullet journaling, doing printouts, doing cash envelopes. So cash envelope system is basically having a lot of envelopes and then assigning it to be like, this is for my transportation, this is for my food that month, this is for my rent that month. So they withdraw actual cash and put it into envelopes. I personally don't do that. I like putting my money in banks, and I will explain to you with why later. So these are some examples of digital and manual. So digital, this is my actual spending. It's from an app called Fudget, the orange one. This one, it's Fudget. And then, sorry, someone requested for me to go back to the last screen. Okay, sige. Hold on. Okay. Is this the one? Or maybe this one. Anyway, guys, I can you can take screenshots of it. Okay, I'll go next because people might be waiting. Okay, so digital, this is a bank, this is an app called Fudget. It's very, very simple. All plus minus, everything that's going in and everything that's going out. And then I also do from my notes, like on my cell phone, like if I don't want to download an app anymore, this is what I do when I travel abroad. Like if you see there, the Singapore expenses. And then on the lower part I will link to you guys after the talk, a CNN article that talks about 8 great budgeting apps for the Filipinos. So it has Philippine peso currency. And then the manual over here on the right side is You can do printouts. You can make the table yourself. If you want to, you can make it colorful. You can put drawings. So if you're more on the creative side, I found that this is more helpful for those people to really get into dealing with their personal finances. So of course, majority of the creatives don't really like dealing with numbers and math. So this could be a great alternative. So you have to find a way that works for you. So what do I do myself? This is what I do myself. So I use an app. I used to use a planner or a notebook. I list down all the things that I do, but then sometimes after a year of doing that, sometimes I forget bringing my planner. So I use an app. I use an app called Monify. Uh, so I really like the whole, like, you just choose an icon and then plus or minus, and then it shows you like a chart. So this is my actual spending so far for April. Yeah, TMI, but why not? And then after that, I like seeing it. I like doing an annual spread. So I actually shared this in my page also before. The link is somewhere, but I can share it to you guys again. I input everything into an Excel sheet, and I see everything throughout the year, what I spend throughout the year. So first is the income, and then the savings, and then everything that I spend after that. So by the when you do this at least a year, no, you will be able to, on the top of your head, you can answer anyone like, how much are you spending on groceries every month, or how much are you spending on eating out every month. On the top of your head, you already have that number, and it will be easier for you to lower the things that you can, and for you to be able to okay, so there's this concept of a gap. uh, I don't have visuals for it here. I hope you can see me, but basically this is what you earn and this is what you spend. So this is the gap. Our goal mainly is to really expand that gap. So earn more and spend less. So when you expand that gap, that means you're saving more for your financial goals. So yeah, now that we've earned, we've saved, we've budget, why am I still not, why am I still not saving a lot? Like, why is my savings not growing? Why can't I afford things that I want? Okay, so an answer to that might be this: lifestyle inflation. If you can see the pictures down below, these are typical examples of lifestyle inflation. Milk tea every day. Also, that's not very good for you. Justin from yesterday's talk of basic nutrition will scold you for that. And then before, we were okay with riding a jeep, and then now we have to grab every day. Yes, Maki, thank you for that. We have to grab every day because we don't want to spend extra time to commute. Also, it's less comfortable to commute. Okay, spend your milk tea budget on fruits instead, says Justin. Okay, we shop. A lot of people, again, with the emotions, no, a lot of people stress shop, a lot of people stress eat, and we always want the latest gadgets. So these are some of the things that are that capitalism is pushing to us. Of course, the world is growing, so it's gonna be worse and worse. Advertisers are gonna be approaching us more, and all these things. So it's really discipline within yourself, no, to really know that, okay, I can't spend for this yet because I really want to buy a condo already. So a little sacrifice for now, and I will have something that I want later on. So that's called instant. Lifestyle inflation is also related to instant gratification, meaning we're so stressed now, and we want to see the fruits of our labors right now. So the key there to thinking about your future self is really to delay gratification. Always think na, okay, I might be sacrificing now, I might not be living the best life that I can right now, but at least my future self will be okay. So the number one kontra aning lifestyle inflation and instant gratification, ay kaning delayed gratification, is really the YOLO which was really famous a few years ago. You only live once, so do it right now, okay? But the problem is you also only die once, and you don't want to suffer in the future just because you took some time to enjoy right now. So yeah, okay. Next, after you do all those things, those are the basics: earning, saving, and spending. Next is to protect yourself, okay, against sad events in life, okay. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a insurance agent or anything. I'm just really an advocate of financial literacy. But this is what they always use, and I love it. Okay, protect against sad events in life. If you notice, SAD is an acronym. SAD means sickness, accident, death, and disability. Okay, so protect yourself from sad events in life by first having emergency savings. So we're hearing a lot about emergency savings, hopefully not just from me, but from other people as well, because I'm aware that after 1 month of lockdown, a lot of us might have been, our income is affected. We might not be earning as much. We might have gotten a salary deduction, and worse, a lot of people in the Philippines are unemployed or no work, no pay. Okay, so emergency savings. I made this chart a few months ago. This is just a very basic. I wanted to make a really basic chart for everyone to directly compute how much their emergency savings is. But the more accurate one should be 3 to 6 months your monthly expenses. So for example, your monthly expenses is 10,000 pesos. That's all your food, utilities, rent, and transportation, your needs. um, you need to save up 30 to 60,000. Okay, that emergency savings, you should treat that as money that's already gone, because when you, in the event that you lose your job or you lack savings, this is the money that you will use. So let's just say there's no pandemic, and this is not an exceptional circumstance. If you lose your job or you take a hit in your business, so if you're a business or you're an entrepreneur, you have some people call this the rainy day fund. So you're good, you're good for 3 to 6 months. So it's not heart level yet that you're good for the next 10 years, but at least you're good for the next 3 to 6 months to get back up your feet. So um you have 3 to 6 months to find another job. You have 3 to 6 months to try to regain your losses or to try to regain your customers if you're an entrepreneur or a business. And then you have 3 to 6 months of time during a lockdown where na you're gonna be fine. So that's basically an emergency savings. And then yeah, someone chatted, yes, we're using our emergency fund now for groceries. Yes, perfect. Okay, and then another protection is insurance. Again, I'm not selling insurance. I don't have a pitch for an insurance. I don't work for an insurance company, but I do believe in insurance. Okay, how does insurance work? I tried to make this as simple as I think I can, and I did. Okay, if you're the insurer, you're the insurer, si ate girl. Okay, so you pay a premium. They call it a premium. You usually pay it every year. You pay a premium to your insurance company. So your insurance company, in the time that you experience sad events, so sickness, accident, death, and a disability, you can claim more than what you paid for. So some people think, scam yan, because how can they do that, diba? How can I be paying only 20,000 a year and then they will give me 1 million pesos? Okay. So what insurance company does, when they get your money, they actually invest that. So we will talk a little bit about investing later, but basically, if you've heard of investing, they're trying to grow your money. So they borrow your money, they try to grow it. That's why they can give out the insured person their claim if they get sick, like cancer, or they unfortunately they die. Their loved ones can claim the money. Okay, so examples of insurance: there are life and non-life insurance. So for life insurance, you might hear the words life insurance. Life insurance ironically means death insurance. If you die, your family or beneficiary gets the money. They just want to make it sound nice. It's life insurance. Critical illness, accident, health insurance, HMO, which usually if you're employed under a company, they provide this benefit. PhilHealth is actually a type of insurance. It's Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, or PHIC. Travel insurance is also a thing for those avid travelers. There's also non-life insurance. So when I say insurance, I'm not just talking about your life, because once you get into a car accident, that can also cost you a lot if you're not insured, diba? And we don't, as much as possible, hopefully, we don't want to spend our money for fixing up a car, especially if it's not our fault. Okay, car insurance, property insurance, like against fires, earthquakes, and everything. There's also CGL for companies or entrepreneurs out there. Yeah, Health Max, that's a product of a company. Thank you, Maki. So yeah, CGL is usually general liability insurance. So if ever like people slip in the mall because they did not put like a signage that says slip, diba? You can actually claim an insurance benefit if you break a bone or something, or if you die. Hopefully you don't die from slipping in the mall, but yeah. Okay, what people usually do if they don't have emergency savings and insurance? They get into an accident or they get sick. Like the most common is cancer. They use up their life savings. They sell all their asset and things. And electronics. They borrow money from friends, family, or worse, from sharks or those doing 5-6. They fundraise, or their friends and family and relatives fundraise for them, or worse, they die. So this is why I'm a believer of setting aside money for emergencies and being insured, is because I don't want you guys to get through a sickness or an accident and then come out of it being broke and being ashamed of people because you took up, you know. Of course, I don't find anything wrong with trying to help people, donating money to friends and family who are sick. But as much as possible, let's have the insurance company take care of that if we can, right? So yeah, when you're insured, the next thing that we have, if you already did the three and then you're insured already, the thing that you have to think about next is investing. So if you notice, these things are actually taken into level by level. So obviously, if you don't earn anything, you can't save anything, you can't spend anything, and then how can you pay for insurance? And then the next, if you're already done with those four, is to invest. Okay, bear with me on this topic because I know a lot of people get intimidated with the word investing. So I actually did a PowerPoint presentation that dealt a lot with investing because I'm really an advocate of investing. But then when I run through it with a friend of mine, I realized that they pointed it out that it's too heavy for a personal finance 101. So okay, investing is basically growing your money. If you want a more intensive approach and explanation to this, I have like a 15-minute video on YouTube. So sorry if I'm plugging myself, but I don't really want to end up ending this talk at 12 midnight. So please watch that video after this one. Okay, why do we have to invest? If you guys are familiar with inflation, if you took an economics class in elementary, in college, inflation is basically the overall increase of the price of goods and services. So what does that mean? I made this table of the prices of movie tickets here in Cebu, Philippines. Okay, 10 years ago or 11 years ago, 2009, prices of movie tickets were only 120 pesos. And Ayala Cinema, okay, it was 120 pesos. And then fast forward to today or 2019, it's already at 240 pesos. So that's it doubled, times 2 gyud ang increase. So why does that happen? Inflation happens because everything around us is also getting more expensive. Gasoline is getting more expensive. If you hear people, they will say, see, pliti na ko, naabtan sa una 2 pesos 50 cents. Okay, jeepneys cost 2 pesos and 50 cents right before, but now it's 8 pesos. Okay, so think about this. For example, jeepneys are already 8 pesos from 2.5 pesos. That means that their employees who are taking jeepneys also needs an increase in their salary. If they need an increase in their salary, then the products and the services end up being more expensive. Okay, so the gasoline is the cost usually of jeepneys getting more expensive. And gasoline, it's not just for private and public cars. You have to think everything that's being shipped, everything that's being delivered, we all use gasoline, right? So everything that gets delivered into the store, delivery fees gets more expensive, shipping fees gets more expensive. In the simplified thing, that's why there's inflation. So a lot of people really get confused. Why is there an inflation? Why are cell phones before only 10,000, now it's up to 40, 60,000 pesos, diba? So there's a lot of aspects to it, but that's the simplest way I can explain it. And sorry. Okay. So in the Philippines, inflation rate ranges from 2 to 4% every year. What does that mean? Okay, your 100 peso today, next year, that's only like 98 to 96 pesos na lang. So that's what it means, that 2 to 4% inflation. So if you're putting your money in a bank, so the typical banks, diba? BPI, PS Bank, BDO, Metrobank, whatever, all the banks actually give only, and I hope you follow with me on this. I'm going to talk about interest rates for a little bit. Traditional banks give out 0.25% to 50% of interest every year. So meaning if you put 1,000 pesos in a traditional bank, next year you will have 1,002.5 pesos. If my math is right. But a good thing to do if you really don't trust any other investment just yet, okay, and you are not very familiar with investing, you're still trying to learn, then I suggest you move your money to a bank or somewhere that has higher interest. So I always tell myself, my friends also, about ING. That's IN and then G, GOAT. I don't know if you guys heard that right. ING. This orange thing here, okay. This is ING and this is CIMB. The name is here. Both of them give out 4% interest. That's 16 times more than the traditional bank. Okay, what I tell my friends, and again, I'm really not sponsored. I really hope they sponsor me, but I'm really an advocate of these things lang yun. Okay, so this is how we invest, magod. We think that putting our money in the bank is already investing. So sad reality is it's really not. But if you really are scared to invest just yet, I put it on an online bank or this is what we call a high yielding savings account. Okay. Why can they give out 16 times the really more famous banks like BDO and BPI? One is their online banks. They don't have any physical branches. So this is how you can approach things, that you don't go and think that they're scams. You think about it logically. First is they don't have physical branches, so they don't have to pay rent, they don't have to pay a lot of tellers and employees. They only have, I think, one physical office, and then call center agents that are very active actually in answering all your needs. And then basically very little minimal overhead. Okay, so that's why they can give more than what you get from a typical bank. If you guys don't realize, banks are actually a very conservative form of investment. Actually, I said earlier that I don't consider it an investment, right? I barely consider it an investment, but it is. Imagine millions or even billions of pesos people are depositing in the banks. That's not just sitting in a safe. Banks are actually loaning it out to people at an interest rate, diba? Banks are investing it so that your money can grow. So that's why they can give you back money. So yeah, I think I've talked about too much already about this, but it's because again, this is the most common type of investing that people do. This is the part where I need your patience. So what we actually should do are these things. Okay, bonds, funds, stocks, and real estate. I'm gonna quickly talk to you guys about them. I actually prepared slides about these things, but I'm not gonna talk about it right now because this is personal finance 101. I can maybe do an investing 101, but I already have a video on that on YouTube, so you should check that out. Okay, bonds. With the word bond, you're bonded, okay? So bonds are debt security. You're basically nagpautang sa government or companies. So debt security because they promise to give your money back in 3 or 5 or 10 years. So you're bonded. You can't get your money for that period of time. So for example, we promise to give your 1,000 pesos back in 3 years and it will become 1,200 pesos now. Okay, so 20% increase. It's very good. Although bonds are usually very conservative, they only give 5 to 6% usually. And then you talk funds. Funds are okay. Managed pooled funds. Pool, let's say it's a swimming pool. People give money to it. And then from this, the company then invests it to things, gets money and return from that investment, and then gives it back to the people who invested in the first place. Those are funds. There are also bond funds, funds that have a time lock-in period of at least 1 year as well. So those are called bond funds. Okay, next is stocks. Okay, stock market. I'm sure we were hearing a lot about them on the news because the stock market right now is really down because of the pandemic. So what are stocks? Stocks are company shares. So company shares, you own a portion of that company. So example, a big company like Ayala or ABS-CBN or Jollibee, they put out a portion of their shares up for um public they're selling it to the public through the Philippine Stock Exchange. So of course, majority of the shares are really still the owners. For Ayala, it's still Zobel de Ayala. It's not like we can be like the major owner of that stock, but we can get into it because again, the price of the stock market fluctuates. There's gonna be a stock market 101 class this Wednesday if you are interested in it. I'm not gonna delve na lang too much into stocks because I know it can be intimidating. So let's move on to the last one, which is real estate. Okay, with real estate, you can invest in real estate. You always hear older people say, "Oh, the price of that lot was so cheap before. It was only 200 pesos. Now it's 1,000 pesos." So in the broader scheme of things, real estate always appreciates. When you say appreciates, it means it always grows. So investing in real estate is also a really good way to earn. So it can be a property, it can be a condo, it can be a lot, or yeah. So when you think about real estate, also don't limit your thinking to real estate residential, because malls are actually a form of real estate. They are leasing it to their tenants. My business is actually a real estate business. We fall under the real estate category. We're leasing it also to smaller tenants. We're like a food court. And then commercial, those are commercial real estate. Also industrial real estate, warehouses or empty lots for poultry and other things, storage. Yeah. So those are okay. So I have a few assignments for you guys. Okay, two things. get to know your expenses, get to know what's going on in your wallet and your credit cards. After this, if you don't already, then on the top of your head, list down all your monthly expenses. And then if you have actual receipts or actual credit card statements, then write down the actual expenses that you spend every month. And then next is to write down your financial goals. So I have a lot of people asking me like, okay, I'm setting aside savings, but what for? Like, I don't know what I'm saving for. And that results to lack of determination, because you don't really get to have that thrill of like, okay, I'm getting closer to my goal. Okay, I'm actually like doing well. Or maybe in some months, okay, I'm I have a setback on my goals. It's okay, but I'll try it the next month. Okay, so yeah, please do get to know your expenses and write down your financial goals. Those are the two assignments that I'm gonna give to you guys.
Hi guys, I am filming the outro obviously before the class started, so I hope it went well. I hope you guys learned a thing or two and you enjoyed the class. We spent another 30 minutes doing a Q&A, and I cut out that part because otherwise this video is going to be really too long. If you guys want to see more of these classes, I will post the schedule here, and you can join our Facebook group called Ready to Adult PH to get access to these free classes. I know the class was maybe a bit lengthy, but I still hope that you guys enjoyed. And if you did, then feel free to share this video to your friends and family. Like this video and subscribe to this channel. Click the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload another video. So again, this has been Charm from Ready to Adult Philippines, and I will see you on my next video.